Hello, good morning. Welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. It is November 4th, the day after. So, the first thing I want to address is, that I really did, the pendulum, me, really got some stuff wrong. And, and when I do readings, whether they're public readings or private readings, my intention is always to give people hope, but not false hope. And so that's what I can say. I still believe that my readings were as objective as they could be, given the energies I was working with. Now, for my own personal insights, I guess, I pulled out the card that represents Biden and the card that represents Trump, and I randomly, like I went through the deck and just randomly pulled cards, and these are what I got. I'm going to show you them. I'll talk about them briefly, and then I'm going to, compile them, and I'm going to do another reading and see what we can find. Okay, come on down. Okay, so this side is the Biden side. So what you're seeing is literally he is fighting a very dark force. That's as simple as that. The star and the Four of Wands the Sun and the Four of Wands side by side are telling me that there is still a strong chance of victory. Ultimately, there's disappointment because this was not a slam dunk. This is excruciatingly painful, and this is the problem. If this election has done nothing else, it has very, very clearly put into perspective the fact that the United States is more divided than anyone could have ever imagined. And so the bottom line is, there's so much work to be done going forward, and one can only hope that the person who's capable of doing that ends up in that office. Now, the Hierophant and the Moon are interesting because, the Hierophant can often represent institutions, right? So the government, the courts, that kind of thing. And the Moon is sitting here, and so it's very interesting because it feels like there are things that are going to kind of go to the courts, but there's information that is currently still hidden, and that's going to be, telling, I guess, how much of that comes out. Now, hold on, I got to turn you around. And this is Trump. Okay, so here's my Trump card. So he worked hard and his campaign worked hard. And it's not that they worked hard and they deserve to win. It's that they worked hard corrupting a system. They worked hard to manipulate every possible area that they could manipulate to allow them to accumulate, kind of what they've accumulated, certainly in terms of votes, way, way above and beyond what anybody expected, particularly with all of the early voting. Ultimately, though, it does show disappointment. It shows that the country is striving very, very hard to find balance. And it's not indicating that he would be the person to get you there. Okay, he's definitely has the death card, so it looks like something is coming to an end, but the Magician is sitting here, and so that's talking a little bit about tricks that were played, things that were shaded, things that we don't have full clarity on. And for sort of the outcome, at this point, he got the Nine of Swords. So, there's a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety, and the Knight of Pentacles. So ultimately, we're going to find out that there were other actors who once again played a really, really significant role in terms of getting Trump into the White House. So as I look at this, it feels very much like, you know, do not lose hope on Biden, because it ain't over. And, you know, it's just so interesting that, you know, that the mail-in votes, now, okay, so I know Pennsylvania for sure, and honestly, I got to tell you, I'm not sure anymore, but what other states? But, you know, there were some of them who literally could not start counting the mail-in ballots until, you know, yesterday. And there's millions of them to go through. So the tallies are not in, and it feels as if, you know, there is still hope. I think that's what I'm trying to tell you, is I don't want you to be discouraged. I want you to throw your hands up in the air and give up, because there are lots and lots of indicators that, you know, this very well could still go Biden's way. I think what's disappointing for a great many people, and I specifically am thinking of, you know, people of color, in some ways, the whether Trump wins or loses, and I still maintain he's not going to pull this off. But the point is this: there was an expectation that the country would, like, repudiate Donald Trump and would say, listen, we don't like your style, we don't like your politics, we don't like the way you do things. And instead, what you found out is that, again, the country does not seem to be in a great big hurry to let go of its past, the things that it clings to from the past. It's just not, you know, wanting to let go of that. Holy crap, I got flying cards all over the place. So that was super insightful, because I really think that the sort of the general feeling was that, America had evolved enough that, you know, when somebody said Black Lives Matter, somebody wouldn't immediately scream, you know, well, so does everybody's life, you know, which is kind of, again, a slap in the face. So there's definitely an indicator that, because things are so polarized, you know, it's going to be very difficult for, anybody to bring this country together. And the problem is there's only one person who wants to actually bring it together. So that's sad, and that's a disappointment, but it's definitely something that has to, frankly, just be faced, right? I mean, it is kind of what it is, right? So let's see what we can see. Come on down. I'm going to keep this video relatively short. I know people are stressed and worrying and anxious, and I just want to see what we can find out. Okay, come on down. Okay. Biden versus Trump, Biden versus Trump, Biden versus Trump. Get my handy dandy wand back in front of me here. Okay. So it's too early yet for any, you know, any kind of investigation to be done in terms of election interference. And the thing is, and the thing that's so tragic about it is, it's not only coming from outside of the country, it's definitely coming from inside the country. In fact, in many ways, it is originating inside the country. And Donald Trump feels and felt that the only way he could win the election was to steal it. And that's exactly what he is trying very diligently to do. Biden and his tribe are disappointed and sad that there was not a really strong repudiation of Donald Trump and his behavior. You're being told to not give up hope. Now, if you noticed when I did the cards, when I was tapping them, it was Biden versus Trump. So Biden's on this side and Trump is on this side. And the hope is sitting in the middle. So on this side, you have somebody who is, not well, ultimately in retreat and moving away from where he's at now. Let's continue. So again, you're being asked to not lose hope. This is the thing, right? It's really hard when you're disappointed to stay really positive and hopeful, right? Because it feels like, well, things didn't go the way we wanted them to or the way we expected them to. And that's absolutely true. But you're being asked to be patient and to hold on to those positive thoughts and recognizing, I guess maybe with real clarity for the first time, that once this election is over, the work isn't finished. This is about people continuing to stay engaged, not only through the end of this election and inauguration, but going forward, because the forces that are really, really pushing against that progression or evolution are a lot stronger than was realized. Yeah. Okay, so again, on the Biden side, you have that contentment, that success, that emotional satisfaction and happiness. And for Trump, you have the, sorrow and walking away from. Justice sits on Biden's side. The Eight of Swords sits on Trump's side. Trump is going to do everything he can to continue to muddy the waters, to claim that he's in a bigger lead. He knows he's going to win. There's going to be more of that yakking going on, okay? Because really, that's what he has. Aside from the fact, and to be fair, he has way more votes than anybody anticipated or expected he would get. And once again, it's interesting because it feels again like the election results are a surprise. They're a surprise to Trump and they're a surprise to the Republicans. And that really, really is causing me to question, what kind of manipulation was happening, if any, and where it was taking place and by whom. Lindsey Graham winning re-election in North Carolina is enough to make your blood just go cold, because that should not have happened. And now the Senate is not looking like a sure shot, although, again, don't give up hope. And there's going to be, good news coming forward, good communications. And let's not remember, Mercury stopped traveling retrograde yesterday. And so today, the energies are a little less sort of chaotic or confused. And messages, etc., are going to start to clear. So there may be a lot more clarity as this day goes on, than there was last night as the evening wore on. And, the King of Swords has always represented the law and justice and, finding that balance. And the bottom line here is that Trump is depending on the courts to give him this election. And I don't know, I don't think it's going to work in his favor. There's a lot of stress and a lot of worry, among Democrats overall, because again, there is this like outstanding question about what exactly is this country? What does it mean? What does it represent? And, you know, your allies around the world are watching almost in a state of shock, because it's like, what's going on in that country that there are so many people immersed in, listening to somebody who doesn't know how to tell the truth and buying what he says? Like, what does that say about the actual situation within the country? There's going to be information coming out about dirty dealing. The problem is, or the question is it actually going to in any way change the results? Because apparently, um, Trump is just that person who never gets reprimanded for bad behavior. And so even if information comes out, it's a little bit dicey about what's going to happen as a result of that. So there's definitely going to be some major adjustments that need to take place in the country in order to move forward. People are going to have to start looking at things differently. We're going to have to try to figure out why it is that people are so, I don't know, unwilling to let go of him. What is his message? What is it that people find so attractive about him? So there's that. This is going to be a really hard day, okay? And all we can do is be patient and be more patient, and know that, later on this afternoon into early evening, we should have a great deal more clarity. And listen, Pennsylvania is really important, but they're only now kind of really getting to all of the mail-in votes. So that's going to tell a story. And certainly Arizona and Nevada look like they're still in play for Biden. Florida, I have to tell you, was a shock. And clearly, Trump calling Biden a socialist, and he would turn into kind of a dictator, which is really rich considering that was coming out of the wannabe dictator's mouth. But Florida was a real surprise to me, and I have to tell you, Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham also a huge surprise. And again, you just have to wonder, like, they were really tight races, but you have to wonder about exactly what took place that would allow sort of substantial wins. I mean, I think that was what threw me more than anything, was the fact that both Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham were actually called fairly early. And that was, if nothing else, kind of disappointing. Okay, so listen. I don't want anybody to give up hope. This is exactly the time where you need to stay, positive and focused and hope for the best. And again, if people are disappointed, you know what? So am I. So am I. That some of my answers were really like off. And, when one is reading the energy, that can happen. But for it to happen to this degree, I don't know. There's something about that just truly doesn't make a lot of sense to me. All right. I'm going to say goodbye now. I'm going to carry on with my life. I'm going to continue to, keep my eye on the election results. And I will see you on Friday, unless something really wonky happens and I feel that I need to jump back on before then. Until next time, take care and be well, and we'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.